Hello and welcome to Top Story. Whatever happened to California? Blessed with a perfect climate, home to the movie stars and possessed of the 8th biggest economy in the world, California is, believe it or not, in dire straits. So bad, in fact, that State Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, he of Terminator fame, had to confess last month, our wallet is empty, our bank is closed, and our credit is dried up. The sorry truth is that California is up to its eyeballs in debt and forced to issue IOUs to cover its bills. Help, though, may be on the way. On Monday, Schwarzenegger and leading state legislators agreed to a plan to help cover California's yawning $26 billion deficit. But with thousands of state workers on unpaid leave and facing pay cuts, a lot more pain seems on the way. Well, joining me now to explain what's gone so drastically wrong in California is Guy Nouma, who is an assistant professor of economics at Paris Dauphine University. Thanks very much for being on the program. So, Guy, what has happened? What has gone so drastically wrong in California?
Well, the situation got worse with, of course, the recession. But if you look at the numbers, it started actually before that. And what is really important to underline is the Californian economy, the model, the economic model is based on the dot-com economy and real estate. And we both know that the real estate is in, dire straits right now.
Yeah.
And the fact that the financial markets contaminated all the economy makes the situation worse. But it's very important to stress that the problem of the budget, the budget deficit, which is $26 billion right now, started before the recession.
So just how bad are things?
Yes, what is really important when you go to California and what boosts the Californian economy, it's construction and real estate. And all the subprimes problem contaminated all the economy, the Silicon Valley. If you're not able to have money, well, the situation for the budget, which is based on personal income taxes and businesses taxes, get less revenues to the state.
Okay. Yesterday, Arnold Schwarzenegger and state legislators agreed a rescue package. What does it amount to?
Well, this rescue package consists mainly in cut spendings, $15 billion spendings, whose $9 billion cuts in education. And I think it's very temporary.
Yeah.
To me, the only viable alternative is finding a deal with the federal government, because what is really important to understand is California is the first state in America in terms of economic growth and population. So if we already bailed out GM and a lot of banks, why not finding a deal with California? It's very critical because all the other alternatives, like rising taxes, keep cutting spendings, or even borrowing money to local governments are very short-term solutions.
Yeah, as you say, things are looking pretty bad in California. Plus, now $15 billion of spending cuts, on top of high unemployment.
Yes, and I have other numbers. 11.6%, the unemployment rate. It's not the highest in the United States. You have Michigan with 15.2%, I think.
Yeah,
but
still
it's
very
still
high.
high. It's above the national average, which is 9.5%. So, and on the social aspects, and there are a lot of job losses in the private sector and in the public sectors, which is the real problem right now. Every week we have protests and demonstrations since September 2008. So the situation is really critical.
How seriously is this budget agreement yesterday going to impact on social conditions in California,
That
do you
is
think?
the main question, because when I look at the agreement, I don't see any interaction between this agreement and the stimulus plan, the federal stimulus plan of Barack Obama's administration. And once again, if California plans to get out of this crisis alone, it will not succeed. The only alternative is to find a deal with the legislature, the Democratic legislature first, a long-term deal, which has to be connected with the stimulus plan, because this agreement will, to me, foster and hamper all the psychological effects of the stimulus plan. And there's more money to be spent with the plan.
You mentioned that there have already been demonstrations in California. What do you think is the potential for serious social unrest in the months ahead?
Well, what is very nice, let's say, in California is the public sector, and especially education. More than 17,000 people, teachers especially, have been fired. So if you have a lot of teachers, a lot of social workers demonstrating, protesting every week, it will contaminate all the households. And we already know that actually the American, especially the Californian households, are already expecting more perspective, a good perspective for the future. If you see people, colleagues demonstrating every week, it's not good for the economy, it's not good for the psychology.
When the economy in California is in dire straits, what does that mean for the rest of the United States?
Yes, this is the facade of the United States. When the economic growth is booming, it means that actually California is booming. And if California is in recession, of course, all the rest of the country is in the recession, because it's, technology. We're talking about technology. We're talking about real estate. So I think that a deal has to be made with the government, because if a solution is found, there are more perspective to at least try to recover for the future.
Is Washington going to be putting a lot of pressure on Schwarzenegger?
Of course. Schwarzenegger is alone. And it's really important also to mention that he failed in his mission, also known as Governator. He failed because, once again, if you look at the numbers, before the recession in December 2007, the situation already was bad. So he promised to reach a budget equilibrium, and he failed. So he has pressure from the federal government and from his Democratic legislature.
So is the Terminator going to be terminated?
Well, he's really alone. He's pushed to the edge, and there is no alternative. There is no way out. So yes, unfortunately, the situation will be bad for him.
And he's in a tough political position as well, because he's got a Democratic legislature now.
Exactly, and even among his own party, what I heard is he's really alone because he spent a lot of money for the environment, which is good. But if you look at the situation, all the money spent for environment now doesn't have positive effect. It's a long-term effect, of course. So the Republican Party is really...
And that, I'm afraid, is where we have to end it. We've run out of time. Thanks very much to our guest, Guy Nouma. Please do join us again tomorrow for another edition of Top Story here on France 24. Goodbye for now.